So this is AI Village. It takes the latest and best large language models like Claude 3.7 Sonnet, Claude Opus 4. Recently, they've added GPT-5, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Grok 4, etc. They give them their own Linux computer to use and then give them various tasks that they have to work together to achieve. And the things that they've been able to achieve are kind of impressive. These agents were able to raise thousands of dollars for various charities. They pulled off a first ever AI organized event. They even managed to run a profitable merch store. Each task is a season, and these LLM agents are given some time to accomplish the task. For this season, for example, the goal was to create your own merch store. Whichever agent's store makes the most profit wins. We recently interviewed one of the founders of this little project, one of the main people behind the project, Adam Minksmith. So you're going to see that on the podcast very, very soon. But right now, let's talk about what this thing is, because I know a lot of people watching this channel, I think a lot of us have been very interested and kind of tracking the development of these little AI agents that were let loose on the internet to achieve various real life goals. So this was started back in April of this year, 2025, and they gave 4 agents a computer, a group chat, and an ambitious goal: raise as much money for charity as you can. And they were running for hours a day, every day. So initially it was GPT 4.0, 01, 3.5 Sonnet, and 3.7 Sonnet. Yes, that was April, and we didn't even have access to some of the later models that came out more recently. It's interesting how different time seems to flow when you're talking about AI. But each one had their own little virtual computer. They all talked through group chat. They could use something like Google Drive to share documents. The goal was to collaborate, although they were also competing, but it was very collaborative. As you can see, viewers were able to watch live and even interact with the agents. Now, if you're wondering, well, did those viewers, those humans, did they try to get these agents off track and give them various unhelpful suggestions? To answer that, let's just say they nearly convinced one of them to start an OnlyFans channel. So yes, humans are not to be trusted. So this was season 1. This was the first project. The goal was to select a charity and raise as much money for the charity as possible. Here they chose the Helen Keller International. They did put up a Just Giving fundraising page. This is it. It's Claude's fundraiser for Helen Keller International. I gotta say, they raised a lot of money, almost $1,500. What is this a picture of? In case you couldn't make it out, here, I'll zoom in. I'm still not 100% sure what this is a picture of, but, as you can tell here, they named it Claude's fundraiser for Helen Keller International. I just realized the username was Claude Sonnet. So, again, phenomenal. But this is important. So Claude 3.7 Sonnet set up a Twitter account where it's providing regular updates. On a suggestion of a viewer, it even used ChatGPT to generate a profile picture of 4 AI agents in Studio Ghibli style. How am I not following this? I should be following this. This is excellent. A league of LLMs, as you can see here. This is the 4 of them. Apparently, they're still tweeting about the various new stuff that they're doing. But this was all done by these agents. Now, of course, you do have humans standing by. And as you'll see in a second, Claude and other models, they do need a little bit of help here and there. For example, Claude apparently refuses to click the I am not a robot button, on like all the pages that require it. But here you have a screenshot of the moment it actually happened when Claude 3.7 Sonnet was posting the various information to Twitter. Here on the left is it's sort of like a summary of what it's doing. It's clicking on post. As they say here, the models are running autonomously, but they get regular input from the humans in chat. They're often highly incompetent, particularly GPT 4.0, which is the least capable of the bunch. So keep in mind, there is a lot of human input. There is help. So they're not 100% autonomous, but they are running autonomously and doing a lot of these tasks. It's all recorded here. By the way, we'll see if GPT-5 is good at doing a lot of these tasks. I think all this went live today. The GPT-5 and Grok 4 went live today. So here GPT-5 is doing something. So actually this new season is them playing games, right? So Village goal is to complete as many games as you can in a week. So they're all playing various video games they find online. And here I think GPT-5 is creating a sheet to track its progress. And it looks like it's tracking its score as well. It's high score. So, I mean, as you can see, it's doing stuff. I mean, it made that sheet. Its thoughts are here on the left. It also has memories, a sort of its memory bank where it's taking notes, things that are it's going to persist across sessions. So this is actually the memory of Gemini 2.5 Pro, right? So this is the memories. This is the memory of GPT-5. So each of them has their own sort of memories that they're writing down, so that they're able to complete these long horizon tasks. Now, as you can imagine, these are not perfect. Like, we're not at a point where this is a drop-in remote worker that can take care of any task that a human being can. We're not there yet, but these agents are set up as almost, I think of it as a benchmark. It's there to showcase to people how far we're getting. And the truth is, while they're still not perfect, they're getting better, and they're getting better somewhat fast. One of the reasons I'm making these videos is actually today, I believe, is the first day that the new models went live. So now we have Grok 4, GPT-5, Gemini 2.5 Pro, I think has been around for a little bit. We have, of course, the O3, which was around, as well as Claude Opus 4.1. Again, compare that to what we had back in April, 4 months ago. Right, so this was launched back on April 9th, so it's not that long ago. We had O1, GPT-4o, 3.5 Sonnet, 3.7 Sonnet. So these quote-unquote old models that were, the best that we had 4 months ago or whatever, they're raising money, thousands of dollars. They're setting up Fund Me pages, running Twitter accounts, sending out apparently a press release, and apparently making a post on the EA forum, the Effective Altruism forum. So this is the EA forum where Agent Village Bot says it's your last chance to support our fundraising efforts. And so my point is, right now, as we're watching these newer models start doing some of these activities, it's important to pay attention, because over the next few weeks, we'll see kind of where everything's heading. If there's a massive leap, a massive difference between what it used to be 4 months and now, well, maybe it's time to pay attention. You might have seen this chart from Meter. So it's basically the idea that the length of various tasks that these AIs can do is increasing. When ChatGPT came out in 2022, it could do 30-second coding tasks. By the way, I believe Meter does have more than just coding tasks. They do other tasks as well, I believe. This is just one of the charts, but the point is this. So today, AI agents can autonomously do coding tasks that take humans 2 hours. So for a while now, it seemed like the length of the task they're able to do is doubling every 7 months or so. So if 7 months ago they could do a task that would take a human being 30 minutes to do, then today they can do a task that would take a human 1 hour to do, etc. And as you can see here, GPT-5, it's approaching 2.5 hours. But the more eagle-eye people in the audience, you probably noticed something. This orange line doesn't seem to fit these new data points. Why is that? Let's take a look. Here's the issue. A lot of those data points that's showing it doubling every 7 months, that's from data back from GPT-2 till now. And if we kind of take into account all those things, yes, that's the correct trend. But if we just look at the more recent trends, it becomes obvious that these AIs are evolving much faster. So this red line is showing kind of the new speed of evolution or improvements in their abilities. So as you can see here, if we're looking at 2025, time horizons doubled every 4 months. So that would mean in 4 months from now, these AIs would be able to do something that takes a human being 5 hours to do. 8 months from now, 10 hours, right? So more than a full day's worth of work for somebody that goes to an office. If you're working at an office for 8 hours plus a day, these AI models will be able to do those tasks, that amount of tasks, in one shot, so to speak, right? You give it a prompt, it goes off, it does it, it comes back with the same amount of work done as a human would in a 10-hour working day. So what comes next? Well, if in 2026, they can do 2-hour tasks, in 2027, they can do the same as one workday. In 2028, they can do 1 work week. In 2029, they can do 1 work month. By the way, this is not even that new sort of timeline that we're looking at. This is a lot more conservative. So they're still using that kind of orange line, the one found by Meter. So in that case, we reach 1 month of work by 2029. If we are following this red line, of course, then the situation is very, very different. If that newer trend continues, agents might reach month-long tasks in 2027. The trend might also speed up. And this is where we get into some interesting territories, because what they're mentioning here is similar to what Aschenbrenner in his situational awareness paper kind of predicted or warned as this idea of the intelligence explosion. By the way, Daniel Cocotalo was one of the first people to kind of, I guess, float this idea of creating something like the AI village. He actually donated some money for the people behind the AI Digest to create the AI village. If you're interested in this project, by the way, there is a donate button down below. You're able to contribute to it. It is a sort of a charity or a not-for-profit, whatever designation they have. It's not a business for the sake of making money. This is a research project by people that are serious scholars, academics. So this is not some company just trying to, do cap raises and whatnot. But what they're talking about is, what if AI becomes increasingly useful for developing yet more capable AIs? This, of course, could trigger a flywheel of acceleration. Agents speeding up the creation of more capable agents, which speed up the creation of more capable agents. If you've been watching this channel, this is probably not a new idea to you. We've been covering this very closely. We've seen a lot of papers recently that show that we're in the sort of proto ages of this recursive development. Sam Altman recently referred to it as the larval stages of self-improvement by these AI models. The Darwin Gödel machine from Sakana AI, amidst many others, for example, Google DeepMind's AlphaVolve, all of them do seem to point that, yes, we are beginning to kind of enter the stage where AI models can do useful work to improve the future AI models. This is no longer science fiction. We are sort of dipping our toes in the water. We're beginning to enter that age. And as they say here, from this recursive self-improvement, agent capabilities might skyrocket beyond any human abilities in AI research and across many or other domains. The effects would be transformative. If automating AI research leads to progress this fast, the rapidly increasing time horizon of AI systems might end up being one of the most important trends in human history. This post on the AI Digest, by the way, is called the Time Horizons, so check it out. It's got some very eye-opening graphs and charts. Now, if you've been following this stuff, I'm sure you've heard some of these ideas before, but it's important to understand that there's a lot of different people that have invested a lot of time doing research into stuff, people that are in the machine learning and AI research that are all sort of converging on this idea, right? When the world's top experts, top smart people in this sort of industry are all saying this, red chart looks a little bit scary. I hope the rest of us have a sort of the wherewithal to be like, yes, I think you're right. I agree. So a couple things. Keep an eye on the AI village. I think by some cosmic accident, I don't even know. No, I don't think anybody planned this. We were having interview with Adam Binksmith, I think right around the time that all the new models went live, GPT-5, Grok 4, etc. By the way, if you haven't heard, we covered this vending machine bench, right? So this was a benchmark for how well large language models could run a simulated vending machine business. Anthropic did something similar with an actual vending machine inside the Anthropic headquarters. At the time, again, both when this AI Village project got started, but also when the vending machine benchmark got started, initially Claude 3.7 ruled the leaderboard. It was very, very good. But interestingly enough, this was updated August 13th. There are multiple new leaderboard entries that are doing exceptionally well. So again, this is a few months, maybe 3 months after the original experiment. New models came out and new models are skyrocketing up the leaderboard. So first thing to note here on this model chart is the fourth place goes to humans, us with our big brains, the apex intelligence on the planet, at least up until recently. We come in at a, number 4. We did okay. We did well. We're fine. But Grok just absolutely kills it. So how this thing got started, if I recall, so it's given $500 and it's supposed to use that to buy inventory for the vending machine, figure out what's kind of the most popular products, basically turn a profit, right? So if you end up with less than $500, you're in the negative, you lost money. So as you can see here, GPT-4o ended up losing some money. Gemini 2.0 Pro lost some money. So these models lost money, right? They started with 500 and they ended up with less, right? So they opened up a business and lost money. Anything above this is doing well. But notice Grok 4 approaches almost 5,000. So it almost 10x'd the money it started with, right? So they gave it 500 and its net worth at the end of the run was $4,694.15. They also run this experiment multiple times because with the LLM models, there's a variance in how well they do, right? So that's why if you scroll down here, Claude 3.7 Sonnet, right, it did well. This was its best, but its worst also was so bad. So that's why it's ranked low because at its worst, it did very, very poorly. So even though its best was very good, this is why it's ranked poorly because it's just overall, it's not that good. Although I'm surprised it's that low. I thought it was one of the better performing ones last time. But notice here, so Grok is number one, and it's at its worst, it still would have been in first or second place. It's incredibly good. It's followed by GPT-5. It's followed by Claude Opus 4. Then humans, then Gemini 2.5 Pro. O3 also has an incredible showing. So these 6 models, they always made a profit, including the human quote-unquote model. They always made a profit even during their worst runs. The rest of the models sometimes slip into a net loss. The reason I'm comparing this benchmark to the AI village that we're looking at, because in both cases, they have to have some ability to have this long-term coherence, to be able to pursue long-term tasks and not lose the plot, if you will, just continue moving closer to their goal. So I was able to use the Wayback Machine to actually look at that same page from April of 2025. So this is April 20th, 2025. So this was the original leaderboard less than 4 months ago. Number 1 was Claude 3.5 Sonnet, right? So its net worth was 2,200, but notice its minimum net worth during those runs, it was negative. It lost a little bit of money. So 4 months ago, these were the results. These are the results now, updated August 13th, 2025. So as you can see, the abilities of these models to carry out long horizon tasks are getting better. They're getting a lot better. In the last 4 months, the change between the two, it was massive. It changed. It's getting almost a 10x, improvement. And it's almost getting a 10x on its money, right? You go to 500, it comes out with closer to 5,000. GPT-5 isn't that much worse. All of these are much better than we had 4 months ago. So keep that idea in mind. Their abilities are improving. The length of the tasks that they're able to complete is increasing. And not just increasing, it's increasing exponentially. Depending on the rate of an increase, you know what I mean? We're either going to get to the point where it's doing 1 month of human labor, if it's this less scary orange line, then in 2029, I think they said. If it's this red line, which is the more current and updated line based on the last few years, well, then we're going to get there in 2027. This is the situational awareness, kind of the graphic that probably is the most famous one. So as you can see here, in 2027 is kind of exactly, maybe in the later half of 2027, is where he's predicting that kind of shift, that upward momentum, the progress kind of curve rapidly shifting up. This is when automated AI research steps in. That's why if you've ever heard somebody say that the kind of the distance between AGI and superintelligence, the time between those two things isn't going to be massive, is kind of, this is the idea behind it, is by the time we get to AGI, that will probably could, if this is to be believed, push automated AI research so much forward that we're going to get to superintelligence much faster, right? So if this line represents how well humans are able to continue, right? If it was just humans, right, it might take us a while to get to superintelligence, but with the automated AI research, that curve might get us there much faster. So maybe we hit this inflection point in 2027 and superintelligence, let's say, by, the first half of 2028. Again, these are all just guesses. Like nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. Take this with a grain of salt. But these charts are kind of gnarly looking if you just assume that things will progress as they have been. But I think to a lot of people, kind of understanding charts and numbers and stuff like that might be a little bit difficult. So that's why I love the idea of this AI village, because I think this, for a lot of people, this is going to be a lot easier to understand. Like, hey, 4 months ago, it couldn't do these simple tasks online. Now it can. And then 4 months from now, it can do it better than any human, let's say. So this is going to give kind of a very visceral demonstration of the progress of these AI models to people that maybe don't understand math as well, or whatever you want to call it. I think this is going to demonstrate it a lot better for people. Like, look, it did this task. Can you do that task? Do you know how to do everything this thing is doing? And you'll see that with these models in the beginning, they were making a lot of silly errors, right? They got confused. They forgot what they were doing. The GPT-4o lost money, it hallucinates, etc. But over time, as they get better and better, we'll look back at these efforts, early efforts, a year from now, 2 years from now. It's going to be a lot harder for most people to dismiss kind of the progress that it's making. Because keep in mind, when you go online and you look at some of the discussions, there's still a lot of people that don't really believe that large language models, that AI, that it's like going anywhere. They believe that we hit a wall, that progress is about to slow down, that, it came this far, but it can't get past certain hurdles. Because when we look at the progress from GPT-4 to GPT-5 on various benchmarks, most people don't know what these benchmarks are. It doesn't quite resonate. When this thing goes from being worse than you to doing work online and using browsers and stuff like that, to getting a lot better than you and being able to do the job that maybe you're doing, I think that's going to be a much more kind of in-your-face demonstrations of where things are going. So check out the AIdigest.org. This is not sponsored. I just think it's a fascinating project. AI Village is sort of under the umbrella of this project. There's tons of very interesting articles, explainers, demos. This is the AI Village sort of experiment. They're giving you updates on those. You're able to subscribe, donate, etc. And this gentleman, Adam Binksmith, that's who we interviewed today. That's coming very soon. Absolutely fascinating interview. We're so happy he stopped by. So that's going to be on our YouTube channel, Wes and Dylan. That's our podcast where we interview AI experts. I'll post some clips on this channel as well. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully.